Hey, well, hello, 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 hello. Happy Monday once again. I'm passing through and I'm throwing some things out there, just playing around with scenarios. And here's a subject I want to broach that I was never in favor of. I'm never a fan of playing with three at the back. And I'm not going to get into the reason why, but I'm finding salvation. Think I'm finding salvation, and so I'm taking a look at it. By the way, I'm the road boy DJPaul. This is the Spurs Sound Off, brought to you on the Road Boy Sound or at DJ Paul Lawrence 9993 on YouTube. You can find me as well over on Facebook, the Rude Boy Sound over there as well. Instagram, the Rude Boy 63. Not much content over there on Instagram as yet, as I'm trying to build this channel, try to find a background that I really love. So I'm playing around with a few, and then I will get into a settled background. But in the meantime, I'm cranking out a few videos. As I said, when I first started the channel, was these are my ideas, these are my thoughts, and so I'm going to deposit them right here, and you can partake of that. If you like what you're hearing, you can leave me a thumbs up, you can leave me a comment. I will certainly get back to you. And also, I'm gearing to doing maybe going live maybe once a week or something like that. So, if I have you with me, then I'm inviting you to subscribe to the channel, grow it so we can have a conversation, we can have a dialogue. You can help me through my thought process, because everything that's coming out of me right now is just my idea of how I see Spurs in conjunction with being critical of the way Ange play. And so, without further ado, the question of the day is actually this: will a back three help? And I think I started out saying I don't like the back three. I don't like the back three when I have four good defenders. I think the back three rob you of a creative player. However, when you start having the deficiencies that Spurs have, it has entered my mind, and I've looked at it over a long period of time, and I've come to the conclusion, even now, with why a back three will work. And a back three will work because of the genesis of how the back three actually came about. The back three was being used at a lower league because they did not have enough good defenders. So the more in numbers that you have, the better chance you have of the team defending. And so it spread. And so it became the norm for people like Jose and for Conte, and you see how successful they are. With it, Conte has adapted it, and he has success wherever he goes with it. And so when I look at this team, just in the state that it is, I think before, if I might talk about playing a back three before, it would have helped. Even though I would have resisted it, I think it would have helped. It would have helped Ramiro. It would have helped Van Ven more than anyone else, Udogi, and it would have also helped Romero. And it would have given more exposure to Dragoshin, and therefore now we would have more development, because now if you go to a back three, you need at least five defenders. So you're going to have two additional central defenders on the bench, and so Darrington and maybe Phillips would have played more, and there would have been more development. Whatever happened with Archie Gray comes later, but I'm saying when we have a full squad, it would have benefited every one of the defenders. The fullbacks would have benefited them because they would have been able to play a higher start at a higher point in Ange's kamikaze way of playing offense. So it would have benefited everyone. And then the two fullbacks that we have would have actually played the way they're actually play in their development. Both are wing backs, and so the back three would have helped them because remember that Poro came in for Conte, and also Conte bought Udogi because Udogi at Udinese played as a fullback, as a wing back. Spain doesn't use full. Spain actually play with fullbacks, even though the new today kind of football it pushes everyone up in the midfield. So don't. So Cucurella is not a wing back. So you're gonna say, oh, Cucurella is a fullback, but the way we play, even Johnson from Fulham is a fullback, but the way they incorporated them in pushing them up in the midfield, they look like fullbacks. But we do have two wing backs, but that's a different story. And so, just to give you some perspective, I love to do that. And so, yes, to the question, I'm going to go with yes. I ask a question and I'm going to answer the question in this fashion. If you have this weakened team, I would have switched to three at the back. And here's how I would go about it. I would play Poro as a right sided central defender, Dragoshin in the center, and Gray out left. What that will do now is that you're going to have an additional defender in there, and now you could stretch them across the back. When you stretch them across the back, you could actually play higher because playing higher means that you have an additional man and you're going to stretch further. So now you have protection behind the two wing backs. So when you have the two wing backs in, and then you're going to have a holding midfielder, or you're going to go with two midfielders. Now you don't have to actually have a directly holding midfielder per se, because you're going to need some of that midfielder to offer more in the offense, because you're removing a midfielder who you'd normally have if you're playing a 4-1-2 or a 4-2-1-3. Whatever you're doing in there, you'd have had an additional midfielder in there. So in order to accommodate three at the back, you'd have to lift a midfielder. What that would have done, right? It would have given you a lot of leverage, and it would give you better coverage in your midfield area. You'd have a lot to go around, right? Because now, all of a sudden, you have four in the midfield or five that you can choose from, and then if you stretch a little further, you now have Kulusevski when you go to a back three. So there's a lot that's going on with players right now who are playing, and the formation could have made a difference to how we play, how we defend, and how we attack. One thing you're not going to take away from it is that you're still going to have the propensity that Ange wants to play front foot and play attacking football. All you're doing is changing a formation by lifting a midfielder and drop a central defender in there. So if you look at it right now as it is, if I were picking the next 11 for the next team, and I'm going to keep this video short, just not to confuse what I'm saying. If you go with the top three, the attackers, you're going to go with Son, Solanke, and Johnson or Kulusevski, right? And then when you come back to the midfield, you're either gonna go with Bentancur or Sarr. I know Bentancur is out, but I'm talking about able body. He's suspended because of the card. But if you're picking the team in this iteration of the injuries and everything, and you can go with Sarr, you could go with Sarr, you could go with Bissouma, you could go with Bentancur, any three you could choose to play your holding midfielder. And then you have Bergval, you have Kulusevski, and you have Madison. So now you have three attacking players that you can choose from at any given time, right? And then from your defender, you're going to still be short on the defense, but you're not going to put all of that stress on the defense. You're still going to be versatile because you're going to have Regulon, who is going to now cover for Udogi, and you're going to have Spence, who's going to pick up the spot that Poro is leaving to go inside. So if I were picking the next team, right? I'm not sure when is the next game. I would have gone with Gray left, Dragoshin center, Poro right, and then you have Spence on the right, Reggie on the left, Bisuma and Madison or Kulusevski central. I would more go with Madison, and then I would put Kulusevski left, Solanke center, and Son right. Son left. How do I do that? Son left, Solanke center, and Kulusevski outright. You can't play Madison and Kulusevski in the same midfield. It just doesn't work. And so, if I was to recap that, like I said, I want to keep this really, really short. So, what I would have done, repeating myself, is that I would have gone with Son, Solanke, Kulusevski, and then I would have Reggie, Madison, and Bisuma, and Spence, right. And then you have Archie Gray, Dragoshin center, and Poro as a right-sided center back. And of course, they're going to have Foster in goal. Let me know what you think. That's what I would have done. And I think we would have fared better because now we're not changing anything. We're just changing the formation. The way we play, we're going to play the same way. But what we'll have is that now we're going to take care of that big gap that in areas that we're leaving behind us when we play with the fullbacks, and then the fullbacks have to push higher. Secondarily, if you're going to go to a 4-3, a 3-4-3, then what that will do is that it will start the fullbacks or the wing backs higher. And so they don't have to come all the way back. And more so, they can come inside if the center backs have to stay out, because even when the ball comes over the top, the center back is not going to vacate to come inside. They're going to stay. So what's going to happen is that the fullbacks going to have to come inside with the midfielder. So they will come down differently. So you go out wide, the center back stay wide or go wide. The wing back or the full back will come inside. And so if you go to a 3-4-3, which actually help the team, and it will eliminate something for sure. What will happen is that you don't have to play Werner. For sure, because you're short. You added an attacker, so you could actually move someone. Now you have Johnson who can cover. You have Sarr who's going to need a spot. You have Bergvall who's going to need a spot. And then when Moore comes back, he's going to need a spot. So there's a lot to go there with, and Richarlison coming back. So just by making that one formation change, I'm warming to it, and I think the team would function much better. Our midfield would have been better because then we don't have to. We're not going to be that open because the fullbacks or the wing backs are going to be inside because that's the way you're trying to play them now. So if you're going to play them from a deeper role inside, then you play them inside for beginners. So what they will actually become is that they will technically become quasi left and right wing backs and left and right outside midfielders. So you can make your midfield stronger with the other two midfielders in it. So you will have three in the midfield all the time because the number 6 is going to be here and your attacker is going to be up top. Let me know what you think. I think I'm getting somewhere with this. I'm warming to it. But will Ange think he could win with that? Or does he going to tell you that's not who we are, mate? We're going to continue to pound it the way we are pounding it. Let me know what you think. I'm the rude boy DJ Paul for another edition of the Spurs Sound Off. Let's roll. Come on, you Spurs.